We think we use language to describe reality, but what if language isn't quietly shaping what we are even able to see? Words do not just communicate ideas, they shape perception, identity, and power, often without us even noticing. So today, I want to explore how language evolved, how it has been manipulated over time, and how becoming conscious of words can change the way we experience reality itself. Language is not static, it shifts and reshapes itself through social, cultural, and more recently through technological changes. Pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary evolve as communication adapts to the needs of its speakers. Yet language does more than just help us speak. It shapes how we think, feel, and understand the world. Words frame our experiences, and when language is guided or constrained, entire narratives can be influenced, sometimes quietly, sometimes intentionally. We know that language shapes perception. What is often overlooked is that its history is not only one of natural evolution, but also one of manipulation. Today I am referring to English, but this story applies to every language. All of them evolve, and all of them have been shaped by power, culture, and control. Linguistic manipulation is the deliberate distortion or redefinition of words in order to reshape perception and, by extension, thought. By limiting vocabulary and altering meaning, language can quietly narrow the range of what people are able to think, question, and imagine. In reality, this is a powerful instrument used to control or influence thoughts and behaviors through the strategic use of language. One of the most common tactics of language manipulation is the redefinition of words in order to strip them of their original meaning or to distort their true intent. Such an example is the word mortgage. The reason I'm choosing this word is because the first time I heard it, my Latin trained brain translated it as the dead man's pledge, which historically and literally is exactly what it means. And that realization sent chills through my body. I'm not going to speculate why this or a multitude of other words have unusual and different meanings in English. Words meaning was one of my first rabbit holes, and when I first discovered it, I changed certain things in my daily vocabulary. For example, I started saying grand rising instead of good morning. I eventually stopped, not because the idea was wrong, but because it became mechanical. And I realized something important. Intention matters more than performance. And I actually like the way good morning sounds because it was one of the first things I learned on my first English class. Awareness of a word's potential power can neutralize any manipulative intent, be it a spell or a mind control technique. Although words carry intrinsic energetic power, the same word can mean different things to different people, depending not only on their age, gender, race, or nationality, but also on the context, history, and emotions. This is because definitions of words change based on the ideas that we associate with them. This fact is heavily used in the social engineering world. Change a word's association, and you change a person's viewpoint on subjects which involve that word. It works like magic when used right. Another form of language manipulation is the suppression or elimination of certain words or concepts. A good example is George Orwell's novel 1984, where they spoke Newspeak, a language designed to control thought through simplified grammar and limited vocabulary. I experienced something similar growing up in communist Romania, right around 1984. While we didn't speak Newspeak, our language was altered through orthographic changes. Romania was communist between 1945 and 1989, but between 1947 and 1963, in Romania, communism was imposed following a Soviet model. Communism shaped Romania in every way I can think of: economical, political, social, cultural. But that wasn't enough for the Soviets. In 1953, they changed the rules of grammar in order to remove a certain symbol from our language. So, through a legal decree, this letter, which we pronounce was completely removed from the Romanian language, changing the name of our country from Romania with an A to Romania with an I, specifically the People's Republic of Romania. This wasn't just a spelling change. This was an attempt to sever historical identity. Romania comes from Roman, which ties us to our Roman ancestors. In the Soviets' opinion, Romanians were people with corrupted Western origins, and we were supposed to only face east because that's where the light came from in the Eastern Bloc, which probably explains why we had so many blackouts. The correct spelling of Romania returned in 1965, but the rest of the words containing this letter were misspelled until after the revolution. A more subtle form of language manipulation is the deliberate blurring of meaning, making language so ambiguous it becomes difficult to discern the truth. Terms like natural, green tech, sustainable, smart, politically correct. This tactic involves vague terms lacking a clear definition or description, and it is common in politics and marketing, where redefined or blurry language is meant to obscure the truth. Words are very powerful. The Gospel of John starts with, "In the beginning was the Word," logos. In Greek philosophy, logos, meaning word or reason, represents the divine reasoning force behind the universe, serving as the power of speech and persuasive logic. From an esoteric perspective, logos carries profound and multifaceted meanings rooted in ancient philosophy, mysticism, and theology. From both modern physics and ancient philosophy, we know that reality is dynamic. Everything is in motion. Everything vibrates at some level. From a symbolic and energetic perspective, words participate in this movement. They carry intention, emotion, and meaning, and those elements shape human behavior and experience. When we speak a word, we release a wave of energy, which represents an expression of our thoughts, emotions, and intentions. Every word carries a specific energy capable of bending both the physical and the subtle world. This is not only about speaking positively, this is about understanding the nature of our reality and learning how to use words in order to create. I would love to know, what is a word which surprised you once you really looked at its meaning? Share it in the comments. Thank you for being here. I'll see you next time.